What's up, sports fans? Welcome to the Sports Case LLC, kicking off our first series, More Than a Woman, with the beautiful Karley, a Buccaneers babe and a Super Bowl champion. How does it feel? How has the last month been? I guess it's already just been a whole month. The whole whirlwind of being a Super Bowl champion, because you are a champ.
Oh, of course. I mean, more me than Tanner, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And even like you said, it's been a month and it still doesn't seem real. Like I look back at pictures or videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy.
This really happened. That's how I feel too. It's just like I'm thank God for Facebook memories and stuff, because then I'm like, oh my gosh. But it feels like that whole week was such a blur. And then once it was done, it was like Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah. I actually got lucky. I was off the week of Super Bowl, came back to Tennessee and was so exhausted. And we had like an ice storm. So I was out that whole week too. So I had like a nice recovery break.
Oh, you're so lucky, because I swear, I don't know if it's just like getting older or what, but hangovers aren't just like a one night thing anymore, like the next morning. It feels like it takes 3-4 days for me to fully recover from the decisions that I made. So, but fully kicking off, as we said, you are the original Super Bowl babe. How did you and Honey Bun meet, and how long have you and Tan been together? Let's start there.
So we met in May of 2017. We grew up in like super small towns, about an hour away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to college with a bunch of his friends from high school. So I had a lot of mutual friends. He added me on like Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, like all in one day. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I feel like I should know him, but I don't. But he's tall, so I'll go for it. So then I was at the beach and he sent me a Snapchat. I was like, how's the beach? And we literally just kept talking. And one night I had some liquid courage and meet up with them. And we've been together ever since. We're going on 4 years in May.
Yay.
The whole time it's been long distance. Like the closest we've been was like 8 hours apart. But it honestly has been so easy. Like it's not even a question, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys look like best friends, and you know that best friend aspect just makes it that much easier. So the distance thing, of course, we're gonna have to dive into that, because it's just like managing your schedule, your life, goals and aspirations, and then like doing that. People don't realize how much you have to be on task with everything going on. So I love that, because that's like the news story of this day and age. Like you see someone hot on social media, and then it's like you gotta have the courage. Like my friends have to constantly encourage me to do the DM slide, and I'm like, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm a chicken shit, so let's not even go into that. But so speaking along the lines of that, you and I actually got a chance to kind of already meet. I kidnapped you into my interview when I interviewed Tanner this past summer, and it felt like we hit it off. So I remember us talking about the intricate major that you're studying. Can you kind of tell us about that so that we can get into the juggle?
Yeah, so I actually graduated in 1 month and 16 days. Who's counting? Master's in speech language pathology. And I've gone back and forth. I thought I wanted to do pediatrics. I loved it. I loved the idea of being in a school. And this time, like last year, I was like, I don't think that's what I want to do. So I started freaking out, and I'm like, what if I've wasted all this time? So February 1st, I started a placement at a skilled nursing facility, and I fell in love. Like 100%, I want to work with like the geriatric population. They have my heart like 100%. It's amazing.
Wow. And it's funny, because when we got a chance to catch up this summer, I told you how I have a friend who did the same thing. She got her master's in the same, I'm not even going to try to say everything you guys say, but at Appalachian State. And when she was going through different placements and internships, she was struggling to figure out like kids or older people, kids or older people. And then she panicked, because she's like, this is such a specific major. What if I change my mind?
Yeah.
So she did not know like where she could go from there. But it's so cool how you guys like can work and break down speech to such depths, where it's like people don't realize how much goes into talking.
Yeah. And even with our field, it is such a vast field. We have to know so much. Like we do voice, language, swallowing, articulation, cognition. It's so much to learn. And there's so many areas you can work in. You really don't get all that exposure while you're in school. So then it does kind of become that like this whole time I've thought I've been limited to like X, Y, and Z occupations, when in reality, like there's so many opportunities you don't even get exposure to.
That makes sense. I never thought of that. But yeah, that's the exact same panic that she was having. So I'm so happy that you found that thing that sets your heart on fire and that you're going to be ready to dive into. When it comes to the placement, I know that you guys spend a lot of hours because, like you said, it's vast. Like you guys are basically low-key doctors that are going to be working on speech things. So between, the hours that you have to put in for school, the studying sessions that you guys have to do because it's insane. How do you balance that with being an emotional support system for Tanner? Because I know for me, like it was when Babe got off the field, we had to break down film. Not that I'm a film genius, but it's like he likes to bounce ideas off of you and, hear your feedback, or at least he just needs that ear to talk to. And when it comes to football, it can go on and on. So how do you balance that?
Sometimes it's pretty tricky. Like this semester, I'm at work from about 7:30 to 4, drive home. I'm in class 5:30 to 8:30 every night. Weekend, like I've lived out of a suitcase for about 3 years now on the weekends. So it's a lot to juggle, but kind of going back to what we were saying earlier, like he is truly my best friend, and make time for things that are important to you. And it's always been so easy for us. Like as soon as I walk out the door at work, I call him. We talk literally up until class starts. Sometimes he'll call me during class and I have to cut my camera off because he's like, I miss you. And I'm like, I miss you too. I know it's been like 10 minutes, but like, I miss you. And so it's a lot of phone calls, a lot of FaceTime. I'm someone that stresses out a lot. So I feel like he is more my rock and I'm more of his, not inspiration. That's not the word, but like encouragement. Like when training camp's always tough, for everyone.
Oh, yes.
And he is someone, he's never stressed about anything until training camp. And so the roles kind of switch. Whereas usually he's like, Karley, you've got this. And I'm like, I don't know. So all of a sudden, like I have to be the rock and the one, Tanner, you are meant for this. Like they see it in you. You have to see it in yourself. You wouldn't be there, if they didn't want you. And if anything, like make it a hard decision on them to like make it impossible for them to cut you. And he's like, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I'm always right.
I love that. That's such a good point though. Training camp is always a whole different trigger for these guys. I've always noticed that. In college, I used to do like a huge care package of just like anything I could think of. It was like sending them to sleepaway camp. And it's like, don't miss your mom too much, but like, here's everything that's going to keep you close to home and encouraged and motivated. So that's funny because outside looking in, you would never guess that like, I mean, obviously we assume that the athletes are more of stress cases, but to think that he can calm you and the roles can reverse, the perfect timing, that's fantastic. And it's like, I guess that kind of perfectly segues into compartmentalizing off season versus in season. Now football's become this thing where there's not exactly an off season. So, how do you guys balance that? And what do you love more about off season? And then what do you love more about in season?
It's been, especially the past 2 years, his first year, he spent his whole off season back in Tennessee, and that was great. We got to see each other a lot. The last year and this year, he's actually stayed in Tampa for off season. So it's been more just weekend visits, or he'll come home for like maybe 2 weeks. I would say what I love most about off season is getting to like do more things we don't normally get to do. Like maybe we can actually go to the beach whenever I'm down there, or especially this season, like, oh my goodness, we can go to a restaurant and like actually, enjoy instead of like constantly Uber Eats or something.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Because it was such a, like, we have to be, so cautious at all times. Not that I was being like in healthcare, but I don't want to be the one that comes down there and gives him the virus and then it wipes out the whole team. Like,
right.
Like, not a good look.
I can only imagine the stress this year because it's like there were so many things that could have played into this massive situation. So it's like, we need to see each other, but you have to go through all these extra protocols and procedures to be safe. And not being able to tell me how exciting it is to just be able to go sit at a restaurant and eat, because it's, you guys had to be extra locked down when people started going back to a sense of normality. And then it's like, you're coming here to see someone, and it's like you said, Uber Eats or making dinner together. Managing COVID had to be a little bit more, you know, extra obstacles to juggle through, in a sense. So
yeah, a lot of like, as soon as I get off the plane in Tampa, straight to the facility to get tested, and then like, okay, I'm good, and then start all over the next time I come down.
Oh my gosh. So you had to take like hella COVID tests, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they got tested, you know, every day. So I didn't have to do that, but yeah, every time I got there, nasal swabs.
I felt like such a baby. I didn't have to do as many, but I was so miserable every time I had to do a COVID test. I was like, come on. I wish temperature really told you that much, you know, so that you didn't have to get so invasive. Not that the nose is invasive, but I'm sensitive. I was like, ugh, every single time. But so then I love the fact that he knows how to calm you down and center you with your schedule and everything like that. So when it comes to the cool, intricate career that you have, what do you like see in the next year or two in terms of your career and how you'll kind of balance that? Like, what would be your dream job opportunity?
So like I said, graduate 1 month and 6 days. And I will move down there once. We'll kind of have like some fun in the off season, like traveling. Then about training camp, I'll move down to Tampa. Kind of wait until we know for sure, like after the cuts are made on Labor Day. So if in Tampa, then I'm hoping to apply down there for like skilled nursing or something like that. Work. I'm going back and forth between like, let's knock out like a full year of full time, or like, you know what, let's just be part time. Eventually, I want to be a PRN therapist and work like part time somewhere. That way, I can kind of work in like a hospital setting and a skilled nursing facility, and you know, all these different locations instead of limiting myself full time to just one location.
Yes. That's a great idea. I love that. Well, I definitely hope that you guys stay in Tampa. I can't imagine that you guys wouldn't. And like you said, when you encourage Tanner, I love that you said that, like, make them not be able to cut you. That's such a great thing to put into perspective for somebody when they have to go out and lay it all on the line. But I mean, your guy was such a contribution to this team. To think that, you know, he played in a freaking Super Bowl with Tom Brady is insane. So that, all those semantics aside, let's get into the fun part of the boat parade. That one was great. So me and my friend Amy, we got to catch up with Carmen Vital. I'm so bad with names. And it was going around everywhere, the major bruise that she got.
Oh my goodness.
Even realize from the beer can on the boat. Yeah.
Yes.
Still has an outline of that bruise, by the way. But, you know, what was that whole day like for you? Because, I mean, just as a media member, I just remember being like, I don't know, it was an out-of-body experience. I kept being like, wait, we're really doing this. This is really happening. Yeah. This is what we're celebrating. I was seeing everybody and everything was happening. I don't think it clicked until I looked at videos and pictures after. So what was that whole day like for you when you guys got up and realized you're about to celebrate one of, you know, your biggest successes as a couple?
It was kind of crazy. Like, I mean, here, you know, whenever you think of a parade, like, okay, you know, it's fun, catch some candy, whatnot. I honestly had no idea what to expect, but I was like, okay, this will be fun. We were originally supposed to be on like the big boats with everyone. And that morning, CG was like, nah, my friends and I, we're getting our own boat. So I'm like, oh, okay, let's do this. And I did not realize until we were going, so all the girls met at like the yacht club, and we went and picked the guys up at like wherever they were at the beginning.
Armature Works.
Yes, at Armature Works. So we are driving through to like get them, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of people. This is insane. We get down there. By the time that the parade starts, like we've turned around, I was just blown away. And the whole day was literally the best time of my life. I try and describe it to other people, and, you know, you try and compare it to things like, oh my goodness, it's like this right here. There's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Insane. And his mom even said, like, if I had to pick between the Super Bowl, the after party, being on the field after, or like the boat parade to relive over, boat parade, 100%. And kind of like you said, like until we got home, I remember they took like an aerial shot of all the bells and everyone, and I was like, oh my goodness.
That's what was happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, all my friends are sending me like these videos. They're like, Karley, well, they call me Carl. They're like, Carl, you're on like E! News. You're on Sports Center. You're on this. I'm like, I was destined for this.
You were.
But it was just so crazy because the whole time, like I knew it was a huge deal, but you don't think that like it still hadn't sunk in at that point. And then to see, you're like, this is it. Oh my goodness. It was unreal.
It's funny that you mentioned the aerial shots because I think that was something that kind of threw me off too. I'm like, do people realize that they're like on TMZ the next day or the E! News stuff or some of the people that start like looking through your social media, you're like, what just happened here? Like it's just Tampa Bay. And then the best thing about it is everyone's vote, which I'm sure I know which way you'll vote, but it's like, does every celebration need to be a boat parade from here on out? Like, can you ever go back to a normal parade style after what we just experienced?
I don't think so. I mean, not if you're going to do it right. You can do it great, but it's not going to be as fun.
Definitely not. And at one point too, like, I guess because when I first heard about the boat parade, and they try to keep it very low key so that people didn't get too involved or, you know, they announced it the night before. The funniest part at one point is to look down the river and be like, how did all these people get on the water? That's where I was kind of like, there was a few times too where I was freaked out because I was like, whose boat is going to hit who? Everyone was just kind of like trying to like get close to one another and like veer here and veer there. And then you just get your own wide shot. And it was like, there's 100 boats on this river right now and maybe 50 jet skis. And it's just going off. So
it was insane. And especially we were more towards like the front of the parade. You know, our boat was right behind Tom. So even if you turned around, you really couldn't see everyone behind us. And as you're going through, you realize like it's packed on the sides of you. But that aerial shot, I was like, oh my goodness. Literally everyone was there. I feel bad for the people that were stuck at work because you missed out.
Yes, like everybody definitely got their sick day in. I was really surprised at how they maneuvered around that because I did not even realize how many people were there until I saw that aerial shot. And I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah, especially for such a short notice.
Mm-hmm. So then the fun part being the game and whatnot. I've asked everybody this question, but everybody's given such fun, different answers. Is what point during the game were you like, oh shit, this is real? Like we're about to be Super Bowl champions? Because leading the playoff games, I don't know. I mean, I don't breathe much when things get crazy, especially when Tom Brady starts running. Freaks me out. But each playoff game, it was like quarter by quarter, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. And then Super Bowl happens and I'm pretty sure I blocked out, so I can only imagine for you. But at what point did it hit you like it's real? This is all happening.
Good question. Honest, not that I knew as soon as I got there. Obviously not. But there was an energy surrounding the guys all week of like this confidence. I know we've got this. And like, I think truly believing in themselves. Even we've been with Tampa for 3 years now and leading up to it, they've had so much talent and their record hasn't really reflected it. But I feel like they finally got their confidence in someone that believed in them and, you know, got them to realize, hey, like we can do this. And probably about halftime, I was like, if we keep this up, like I don't see them coming back. There's no way. And even like I would say the Chiefs' energy, you could tell it was down. They're always so fun to watch. And I was excited it was going to be a good game. Obviously, I was happy we blew it out of the water. I don't know that I could have made it a full game. Probably going into the second half, I was like, we've got this.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that. That's such confirmation because everyone just says that there was a magic around this team. Like how you say that there was an energy, there was a magic, and then the confidence of the guys going in. And it's not like our guys were on social media or doing anything boastful or, you know, if anything, they were kind of just like really chill that week. I think that might have been the eerie part of their confidence. But yeah, that's such a great point. It's just they just had a whole different level of confidence to them going into it. And that's a really good point about the Chiefs, because they just didn't look or seem or feel like themselves. Even by the second quarter, it was kind of like, huh?
Yeah, and I was nervous because I was like, okay, they're going in at halftime, they're going to get, you know, their butts chewed out, they're coming out and they're going to kick butt. And when they came out of the tunnel, I mean, I was like, okay, like,
okay,
all right, cool. And even leading up to it all, like the 2 weeks before, the wives, girlfriends, even the guys, if we talked about Super Bowl, it wasn't if we win, I hope we win. It was when we win.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I mean, I feel like that helped with their confidence and just manifesting it. Like, we've got this. This isn't an if and or but. Like, we're winning.
This is ours. Yeah.
We're not letting them, you know, humiliate us on our home turf again. That's not.
Oh my gosh. And of all the feels, like to be able to do that in our home stadium, it was just kind of like, I think that was another thing that solidified that it belonged to us. Like, this was our year, this was our run, this all belonged to us. It felt so good to be able to do that at home. Now, a big thing that I always love to ask too is, like, with Tanner's career and with everything that he's aspiring to do, like, we know that these guys have to have a certain mentality about them to, you know, play in this league, to chase this dream, to continue to go after this. How does that inspire you or translate to your goals and aspirations with, you know, your career, or just day-to-day things?
I mean, it definitely gives us, you know, an advantage financially, like his position and stuff. And so I think a lot of it is like, let's work our butts off while we're young. Like, let's keep grinding. We don't have kids. We're still super young. We're super flexible. Let's bust our butts and do what we can while we're young. And then after football, after a few years of working, let's enjoy life. Like, you know, it is such a short-term like job for them, and just to enjoy every minute of it while you can, even the stressful days, like, it makes you stronger in the end. And I take that, like, what I admire most about Tanner is not only his patience, but his calmness. He is never nervous. He is so calm, and I feed off of that. Whereas like, he doesn't feed off of my negative energy, or not negative, but like anxious energy, because I'm always just like, ah! And he's like, Karley, why are you stressing? Like, that's not going to help. And I'm like, no, thanks.
Oh, I love that it balances you so much.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but
yeah, it really does. He has to have, I'm like, you know what? Like, there we go. Am I back?
There.
Yeah. Tennessee Wi-Fi. Yeah. Yeah, just getting to see him like doing something that he loves at the highest level and wanting to match that. Like, you have a great career, I want to have a great career. I want to be that power couple that we're just kicking butt and taking names.
I love that. And then also to say the sky's the limit. Like, I think it is such a motivator to be like, we can go after everything right now. Like you said, while we're young, why not? And I feel like some people, the pressures of how much the world has changed, some people are so quick to just settle in on, you know, right now scenarios and situations, rather than like, why not go all the way? I mean, I get that, because I just took a huge career risk where it's like, I can continue to work for other media outlets, I can play by everybody else's rules, or it's like, we live in the day and age of digital media. So why not, I don't know, go under my own? And that's exactly the risk I took, because it's like, if I'm going to make these leaps, I have the time to do it now, because I have some recovery time. Nobody really realizes how old I am, but I have some recovery time, so I might as well do it. On a more fun note, where are places or things that you and Tanner want to experience when you get that downtime? Like you said, you know, planning some vacations here shortly, or, you know, when careers start slowing down, where are some must-sees for you guys, or must-goes?
We were actually supposed to go to Iceland last year. That's on the list. I am obsessed with Africa, so I definitely like, I'm going to Africa.
I'm scared to go because there's a lot of shots involved. Yeah. Not that I'm scared of needles, but I just like, I'm sensitive. So it's just like, what are you injecting me with to go do here and there? But where do you want to go in Africa?
I want to go to Morocco. I want to go to South Africa. before I met Tanner, I never wanted to get married. I wanted to join the Peace Corps and work in Ethiopia until I was about 30 and then come back. So
no way.
Just because I had a friend in college from there, and I that even like strengthened like my connection that doesn't even exist with Ethiopia. Like I want to go there for some reason, you know?
Yeah.
And then even going up, like we want to go to like Greece. We want to go to Turks and Caicos. I used to want to go to Russia because of the movie Anastasia. And now I'm like, I don't know.
That was my favorite movie. I'm not even gonna lie.
It was amazing. I was obsessed.
Yes. The little intro song when she's dancing through the ballroom by herself. My mom used to have to play that all the time. It's not even. I
loved it.
Yes, it was an obsession. Weird.
Yeah. But honestly, I mean, I'm down to go anywhere. I want to go so many places and so many different places because I mean, traveling really does help like get you like, to be a well-rounded person. And there's so many things here in America that we miss out on, like, you know, with this very busy, like hustle and bustle lifestyle. Like, I want to go to all these European countries where it's more chill and learn that for myself, that you don't have to always be on the go. It's okay.
Like the French.
Yeah.
They say we work to live where they live to work. I think I said that properly.
Yeah.
One of those. Yeah. But I always admire that as well. Like my family's from all over. This summer, depending on COVID, we're actually supposed to go visit family in Norway, of all things. People are like, you have family in Norway. And I do. And what I love is that I actually come from a lineage of linguists. So I have multiple family members that speak 5+ languages, a handful of greats that speak 7. And they've always been big on like, when you travel and you can learn from other people's culture and perspective, it humbles you. Like it's the most humbling experience to know as much cultures as possible. So I love that. But I picked up on that with you guys when I got to chat with you this summer, because you guys are also doing a lot of things in your hometown. You're constantly giving back. If you don't mind me saying it, on social media, you're so vocal of just, you know, being protective of people and human rights and the right thing for just humanity. Like you're a big be a human person. So I absolutely admire that about you. And if anybody should know anything about you aside from the fact that like you're grinding, you're working in a very meticulous major, you're gonna kill it, is that you have a big old heart. You can definitely tell that. What is some advice that you would give just in general, like young girls that, you know, want that career for themselves, that need to learn how to manage a chaotic schedule? I know that there's not really like a this is how you do it, because I swear I'm learning new things every day, but just, I mean, some advice and inspiration you'd leave us with.
I feel like something that I'm still trying to get better at this. Like you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, how is anyone else going to believe in you? I struggle with self-confidence in so many different areas. And if I go into a patient's room and I'm in there like, hey, I'm Karley, I'm the speech pathologist. He's going to be like, this lady has no idea what she's doing. You have to radiate confidence. And I know what I'm doing. I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm going to make a difference. Because, I mean, like I said, if you don't believe in yourself, how is anyone else supposed to believe in you?
That's such great advice. I mean, I work in media, for crying out loud, and I have to remind myself that all the time, especially because it's like, if you walk into a press box and it's 50 guys and you're one of 3 girls and you seem timid, you know, nobody's going to pay attention to you. Or when it's time to ask that question, no one's going to call on you. So that is a big, confidence is such a big thing. And I've struggled with that myself. It honestly was my best friend who, you know, it took, unfortunately, losing her to really just kind of hone that. And it's a constant reminder to me, like, nope, this situation you have to go into confidently. You have to navigate this with confidence. And then after you can freak out, because the times that I've had to step in a bathroom and be like, oh.
Absolutely. You go in there, you own your session, and then you can go cry in your car. That's fine.
Yeah. Working through another little freeze.
Nobody has to know. Is take up space. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. It's just to take up space. We, for so long, have been not silenced, but I would say silenced, honestly.
In a sense, minimized.
Yeah. Right. To feel lesser than. And we're not. I'm just as important as any man that is in my field that is a doctor, I don't care what your status is. You put on your pants or, in the season of Corona, your leggings, just like, and it does not make me any less valuable of a person. A voice, I'm going to use it, and you can't stop me.
Yeah. And that's a good point too, in saying like, mine is just as important. It's backing that up. Like, I had to tell a friend the other day, you're going to have critics with every decision you make. So just prepare yourself for somebody to have something to say. You can think you're pleasing a whole crowd, and somebody's going to have something to say against you. So why not be you? And she finally, like, I had to send it to her. I don't even remember what movie I saw it in, but it counts. It was, why are you trying to fit in when you're born to stand out? So I had to constantly send that to her because she's got so much personality, but she's always so concerned with how people are going to perceive her personality. I'm like, girl, stop minimizing yourself. Like, just be.
That used to be me. I'm an Enneagram 2. I'm a helper through and through. I used to, even though like I do have a very outgoing personality, sometimes if I'm in a big crowd, I do draw back. And I feel like the older I've gotten, the more I've just had to be like, no, quit, lessening yourself just because you're around all these other people. Like, you need to shine through just like anyone else in the room.
You just start asking yourself why. Like, why did I do that? Why did I manage it that way? I do. Yeah, it's the same thing. But then, as you said, as you get older, it just becomes who cares? Like, forget about it.
I grew up in an extremely small town. Everyone's in everyone's business. There's amazing things about it. I love it. But also, I mean, it does, no matter how straight and narrow you try and live your life, there will always be someone who has something negative to say. And in this season of my life, I don't care. Say what you want. I'm going to do what's best for me and what I can do to help everyone around me. And if your goals and your vision doesn't line up with mine, that's fine. There's not one way to live your life. You have your opinion, I have mine, but I'm not going to change my views just because you don't agree with me.
No, it's miserable. And you can see the people who that weighs on miserably when they're just sitting there trying to meet everyone's expectations. So it's like, you might be a little bit more nervous, but you have so much more freedom. And then in those moments where the confidence hits you and it's like, dang, I just really did something for me that I enjoy, it makes it so much more worthwhile. So
absolutely. Every day, it gets a little bit better when you believe in yourself. Like, you start to have more confidence.
Yeah, it comes a lot easier. So it's almost like a practice to perfection thing, even though, we don't know when it will be perfected, but it gets better and better. So thank you so much for chatting with me and giving your insight and all this stuff. When you get back to Tampa, we will do this with wine.
Absolutely.
Yes. Because there's just too many wine bars here to experience, when you not come home before the guys get back into their hustle and bustle, so nobody's put at risk. But
we have to
once again, guys, thank you so much. This is the beautiful Karley, one of our Buccaneers babes, and this is us wrapping up the Sports Case series, More Than a Woman.